crazy. Sande Bailey-Gwen.
I'm so glad to see you.
I'm glad to see you.
Okay,
It's been a long time. Huh?
Yeah, I have to pause and wait for you to finish. I think we in person.
Oh, no, I tell you what, the last time, and just to bring air, because we're recording right now. And so
okay,
just let everyone know the last time you and I physically were in a room together, you came over to the house, went straight into the kitchen, got the pork chop. And this is my favorite memory. We talk about it all the time. My favorite memory is you going in there, getting the cast iron skillet, throwing some oil, as my sister-in-law calls the Earl, into the hot pan and frying them pork chops up. And those are the best pork chops. And I know that Jacob and Karen and I, we talk about that a lot. Sometimes I wish we had some Sande Bailey-Gwen fried pork chops. And you did that up. You did that, had the whole house smelling up for 3 days.
But look, but what messed me up, but when you put the ketchup on there, that messed me up. I'm like, who puts ketchup on pork chops? I've heard of hot sauce, but when you throw out the ketchup, I almost like, now he done messed up my pork chop.
And if you know me, I put ketchup on top of ketchup, so that is my thing. I put ketchup on top of ketchup. So that is good. And let me just let people know about Sande. What you see is what you get. There is unfiltered, unadulterated. What you see with Sande Bailey-Gwen is what you get, and that's one thing everybody loves about Sande. She don't put on no airs. She's going to tell it like it is. She's going to teach you that word. She's going to give you truth. You ain't going to leave a room till you get some truth. But I tell you what, that's how much everybody loves Sande. And Sande, I've been following you on social media, and I see you everywhere. Everywhere. You in front of the greats, and you in front of nobodies. And you know what? You are the same wherever you go. You are the same, and last week you and I were having a conversation and you made a comment, and we've seen it on a lot of t-shirts. And you said this, you said the church has left the building, and then you stopped and you said, nah, Jesus kicked us out of the building. And I said, yeah. And we were laughing at it because that's what happened. He has kicked us out of the building. And everybody wants to say the church is left. No, Jesus kicked us out of the building and said, I'm tired of y'all being in the house all cooped up, just like we do with our own kids. Go outside and play.
And go outside and play.
Make a difference. Make a difference in somebody's life. And he's been wanting the church to get that. So he said, you know what? I'm going to make y'all get out this building and think about your community and all that. And you have been on the forefront of that all along. Tell us what is going on. What is going on with you? Before the quarantine and now during the quarantine, what's been going on?
Jay, I got to start with when we first met y'all. I had just started the organization, and you talking about broke. I'm not that far above broke, but at least I can live and pay a bill. But at that time, Jay, me and Macon had recently gotten married, and we were struggling. I was wanting to facilitate workshops for free, and I still wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
And so people were like, okay, we'll let you speak, and I will do it for free. And now, as he was preparing me and molding me and cultivating me, and I love this word. Tony Evans said, cultivate is when you bring out the potential in a situation. And he was literally bringing out a situation or potential out of me, whether it was domestic violence, HIV, stigma, suicide. Everything was according to his plan. First, it started out career development, and I would go to different shelters and just love on women and their children. Then it started for free, Jay. And I'm sorry, can I call you Pastor Jay?
Yeah, no, call me Jay. Call me Jay. That's good. Yeah.
So, and then it would go from doing it for free for women's shelter. And then I had the opportunity to go into the school system at Meadow Creek High School in Gwinnett County. And a young lady by the name of Deidre Cox, and I will always give homage to her. She allowed me to walk through the halls of Meadow Creek senior class and go into an accounting class and begin professional development and personal development. And I believe that catapulted me to other opportunities with law enforcement. The sheriff here in Jackson County would call me up for 5 years straight and have me be her closer for situations like prevention on crime, students, just things that were prevalent in that community. And from there, we went to the University of Georgia. 2015 was speaking for them. 2016 had doors to open up for different law enforcement. Gwinnett County Recreation, they trusted me enough to oversee a camp for all students, all teenagers. And they was like, write your own curriculum. So God trusted me with young people to show them how to critically think, how to dress, how to put a financial plan together, how to respect yourselves. That's my biggest thing that I'm seeing, that young people have forgotten what respect looks like. They'll take the world's view and apply it to the Bible. And the Bible is like, you are already backwards. Take the Bible's view and let's apply it to the world. From 2016 to 2017, just moving. That's when I really started getting to the AIDS and HIV community and loving on them from a faith leader. Jay, when I tell you that transgender, same loving sex, people that could be your son, your daughters, where in the Bible God says you can't love your neighbor? That was my job. My task was to bring the faith community and the LGBT community together. And that has been my mission, to just to love like God loves. And through that platform, he's connected me to Gilead Science, where they have paid me grant money to write my own curriculum and travel throughout the state of Georgia in 2018. Emory University, when I tell you, I praise God that they consider me a partner where they have trained me capacity building. And Jay, they're pouring money into me, a girl from the country.
Yep.
A girl from the country. At that time, Jay, I don't think, when I started, I didn't even have associate's degree.
Yeah.
Now, last year I graduated with my bachelor's in theology, just finished my first year of my semester for my master's, first year's master's. So that's what's happening. And I do it outside the church. I'm still Sande in the church, so I exegete the text and I give you my 3 points and I close it. But when you put on a shirt like this, and you get me on some Converses and I can just talk and love, that's where my heart is.
What do you, let's talk about younger generation. What do you think what are they missing? What are they missing that you're providing, and to help the church be able to provide that same thing too?
Man, that's an excellent question, Jay. I got to go back to their parents. They're missing their parents. And what I'm learning, parents are about 15 years older than their children. So if the parents have missed it, that means the grandparents forgot it. They didn't miss it, they forgot it. So it's the generational learning curve that I believe that's missing. And what I provide is auntie and grandma and Miss Sande. When I go into a classroom, I tell them, I don't like children.
Yeah.
I don't like children, and I don't play with children. And when we get that established, the room change. It changes from a dictatorship. I'm dictating unto you to, she cool people and she telling me right. Yeah, I give them the facts. I give them the statistics, HIV, sexual contact. I give them the statistics of suicide among young people. I give them statistics about young domestic violence. And most of the times, for real, Pastor Jay, I have to give the parents the statistics first.
Yeah.
Once I open up their eyes, then we can have conversation with the children, because I can educate and love on your children all day long. But if they go back to an environment that's dysfunctional, then the cycle will never change. So I provide what they don't have at home.
Yeah. What do you think if you were to uncover what really is going on, not only in the hallways of our schools, but in our neighborhoods among middle schoolers and high schoolers, that would blow our minds? Because the teachers are not talking about it because they're too busy trying to make it to the end of the school year every year. The administrators don't want to talk about it because they're embarrassed. Our school counselors can't talk about it because they are, bound by HIPAA and can't share things that they're seeing and all that. Yet I know, and you know, what's really going on in our neighborhoods and our hallways and among students and things like that, that keep us, I know, keep us up at night.
Yes.
Can you share some of that so that parents can be knowledgeable and grandparents can be knowledgeable? Because it is mind-blowing. Go ahead, share that.
I will say this. There's a segment that I do. It's called, Was the Pandemic an Obstacle or Opportunity? Okay, we talked a little bit about that. This has been started off as an obstacle, but God has made it an opportunity. We as parents we're so busy, so mandated by the world system that we truly lost vision off of our families.
Yeah.
And that's just how things were going. We have to work. We have church. We're a soccer mom. We're a soccer dad, along with our own personal, what we want to do, whether it's the gym, whether it's take a job, that we forgot we really had a family that we needed to be present in.
So true.
And that's not nobody's fault, but during this time, God has brought everybody back to the basics. That's the ministry of the family first.
That's right.
So if I could say what I could reveal, I believe God is allowing everybody to see what they went wrong at the dinner table.
Yes.
I don't have to tell you that porn is on your child. I'm gonna give you an example, and I don't mind being transparent. My fifth grader, I gave her a phone that was not connected. It was one of my old phones, no internet, I thought.
Yeah.
So she did something. I said, give me your phone. Jay had no idea. I just happened to look at it and I said, what are you downloading? And I clicked on it. Mm-hmm. It was porn. Mm-hmm. So I got to looking real stupid.
Yeah.
I said, where'd you get Mama, I don't know how it happened. I don't know. So the counselor put the hat on. Mama had to go because I had to get into her mind so I could get the truth. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, you got 24 hours to tell me what's going on. Because from the time you started looking to now, there is imagery in your head that we got to figure out how to get out now, because now it is downloaded in your spirit. That thing was so crushing to me, but it was an eye opener. And because I have a relationship with the school system, I just happened, again, to go by the school one day. Holy Spirit said, tell the principal. I said, hey, come let me talk to you, Whitworth. I said, how long y'all done had porn in the school? He was like, what? I said, dude, do you not know you have porn floating around the school? He said, no. He took me serious that day he had the investigation of his network system, working on it. So backtrack to my daughter. That happened, let's say on a Tuesday. Wednesday, a friend of mine who delivers paparazzi jewelry was talking to me about a group chat that they have at school among parents in the community. And the parents were talking about the porn that was in the school. I got my confirmation within 24 hours.
Yeah.
Got back in the car. I said, girl, guess what I found out? She was like, what? There is porn in the school. She began to cry. My point is, you've got to be present in your child's life.
Yeah.
Present and praying, because God will reveal stuff to you that you would have no natural way of finding. I know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I know what I'm saying. And we can't be so church that we have no relationship with God.
That's true. That's so true.
We can be so churched about going to Bible study, going to rehearsal. God said, hold up, can you worship me for a couple of seconds? I got some stuff I need to reveal to you. And we know that we are called to lead, Jay. We know as leaders, God has put us on the forefront. But if we miss leading our family, we're an infidel. Because that's our ministry. If we're concerned about everybody else's family, God is looking at us like, you've missed the boat. So if I can say anything about the neighborhoods and the community, what we can do, you can start having communication with your children to the point you know when they lying.
Yeah.
And them jokers can lie. They can lie, Lord, they can lie better than a politician.
You know, Judge Judy says this, and Carrie talks about this to our kids all the time. She always says she knows when a teenager is lying, when their mouth is moving, you know, and they lie. They lie. I mean, we had the same instance at our house. We have a what we call a dumb phone. We didn't pay nothing for it. $25 from Best Buy. All we wanted was our kids to be able to reach us if they needed us.
Right.
Nothing on there except ability to get on the internet. But we didn't have you know, I mean, it's a flip phone, a dumb flip phone. And just 4 months ago, found out that they're watching YouTube channels because we found it in one of the rooms. And we would leave it on the kitchen counter. Now listen, Karen and I, we lock up all the devices in our room at night, okay? And at night, they lock them up in our room. But those jokers are smart enough to get away. I mean, you have to be even more on top of it, because my kids are not innocent either. We have found stuff on school computers, the school computers.
Come on,
you know, and we've had to let them know too, your stuff is not safe, you know, and teachers are communicating to us saying that we know this has happened, but they can't even get a grasp on it. And so we got the devices in our home, we got internet monitored, we've got, you know, Google Wi-Fi that is supposed to block out all of that stuff. And no matter if you get A, B, or C, or D, they're going to find E to get through it. And you've got to be constantly on top of it. Our kids, we won't even allow them to have cell phones because of that reason.
Absolutely.
We told them, and look, we've got 3 going into high school next year. So listen to this. At the same time, we had them in 6th grade together, 7th grade together, 8th grade together. 6th grade almost did our house in. Oh, that was a tough year. But look, you know, now going into high school, high school without a phone is not cool. We could care less. We said when you can buy your own phone, you can use it. Now, we're not doing that to be hard. We know all the devils that are in that phone. And if it's already getting through school laptops and a flip dumb phone, then you know it can get in through your cell phone. And so we do that, you know. And, I mean, and you know, it's mind-boggling because it is out there. And the younger generation can figure anything out.
Yes, they can.
They can figure anything out. I mean, if you take a dumb flip phone and figure out how to watch videos and YouTube videos, and look, I had my oldest son to do a search on that flip phone. There wasn't no porn on that one. There have been porn on other things, but there wasn't even porn on that one. We found that out as well. But we have to be on top of it, just on top of it. You know,
I won't say it's scary, but it's reality, Jay, because
it is.
Everybody does not raise their children the same. I'm learning that too.
That's true.
So when you have a free to live wherever you want to live, free to raise your children or not raise your children the way you want to, you are in competition with somebody else's raising. So that's why you have to be, you don't want to be a vigilante, but you want to be to the point, okay, something ain't right.
Yeah.
Either it's your grades, your attitude, something in my house is not right. And I won't say I'm so dumb, but sometimes I'm so clueless that I thank God that he will prick my spirit and put something right in front of me. I was not expecting my 5th grader to have that on her phone. But because God loves her, hear me, he loves her.
That's true.
He had to acknowledge and expose it so I could get it right. Because we don't know what damage it's done. And as you were talking about your kids going to the 9th grade, most of their dirt is formulated in 7th and 8th grade.
Yeah, yeah.
So by the time they go to the 9th grade, they've already established the dirt. What's going to be the killer is the rites of passage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Being loved, being appreciated, being accepted, my self-identity. Am I bisexual? Am I heterosexual? And am I trisexual? All of that will be introduced to them. And I just encourage you, all parents, to be able to listen, because those emotions are real. Don't let nobody fool you. Don't let nobody try to punk you out. And because they're real, we have to be a parent that hears. Yes, we know how we feel about it, but we also have to acknowledge how they feel about it. The worst thing you can do to a child right now, and they are tender in their mental state, in their critical thinking, is to bash them. You never want to crush a child's spirit. And I had to learn that the hard way through my youngest one. Now, do I still get on that behind? Because you mind? Yes.
Yeah.
But because I've been through so many certifications about mental health, first responder, what it looks like for a child to go through anxiety and depression, I have to formulate a different way to come to my child.
Yeah, yeah.
For their life.
Absolutely. The church has been kicked out of the building, but yet he put our congregation around our dinner table.
Yes.
That's what we've got to face.
Yes.
Where you're right. We have, I mean, even in our own family, I mean, we eat around the dinner table. Before this, we were eating around the dinner table maybe twice a week.
Absolutely.
And things like that. But now when you're eating around with them every day, you're with them every day. You're right. You can pick up on things and learn things. And then it gives us the ability to ask the questions and be able to do that. And we have to, I mean, we've got, like you said, I keep on using the term lean in. I think you may have heard me say that before in our conversation last week about leaning into this time.
Yes.
Don't let this time pass by and you miss it and go, man, I wish it was like that again whenever we were like this so that we could be this way. And then you're losing their child.
Absolutely.
Because I think you will agree with this. A child will find love wherever they can find it.
Come on, sir.
And it's not always love. It's sometimes just a simple attention.
Absolutely.
Be it sexual, be it financial, be it just attention-wise and things like that. They will find love wherever they can find it. And in this day and age, there are people out there that will love, quote unquote, love your children when you don't. And they will show them that love, and they will get more than your child is ever willing to give on that. And go ahead.
No, I mean, you hit it. Love is so different now.
Yeah. Talk about that. Talk about that, Sande, and explain how love is so different today, because a lot of people don't get that. Because people are trying to navigate their children and grandchildren in 2020 with a 1990 mentality.
Yes.
And you can't do that. You cannot do that nowadays.
Pastor Jay, when I'm 47, okay. Love for me, when my mom came home, was when the lights came on, the television was on, there was food in the refrigerator. I didn't hear it that often, but because of the necessities that had been provided, that was a form of them showing love. Okay. Now I'm a mother. I have to reassure. I have to pay attention. I don't necessarily have to buy you. I will supply your needs. But when you start, as parents start buying their attention, and then all of a sudden you can't buy no more, I'm going to go to the next person who can buy, who can give me them Jordans, who can give me that hair, who can tell me I'm pretty. So you as a parent have to start early teaching them what love really looks like. Teenagers, when you start going into relationships, just because they say you look cute, your hair's cute, but then they turn around and say, well, I don't want you hanging out with your friends. You twisted in your head, oh, he loves me enough, he wants all my time with you. No, boo-boo, he's already, or she is already possessing you. But you've got it twisted because at home, you're not getting that attention, that conversation, that real conversation that you need. So you go somewhere else. And also what young people, they don't want to listen to authority. So if somebody can love me and let me be me, let me wild out, let me make my decisions, they love me. That's a trap from the pit of hell. Even God said, once you give discipline, you will have a peaceful and righteous life through the discipline. We as parents have to show love through discipline as well. And we have to be mindful, you have to be careful, but be mindful that it's coming from a good place. Some of us raise hell too much. I'm going to say it. We yell too much, and they're not listening. They have totally blocked it off. When I stop yelling, my children know I'm mad because I don't have to yell no more. When I start, you might want to listen to me, and I get monotone, crazy getting ready to come up out of me. But love is so different. You have to be consistent in being a parent. That's the form of love that a lot of them are not missing. So if somebody buy me some Jordans, somebody again buy me some weave, buy me some clothes, then they must love me. And that's how sex trafficking started happening. Yeah. Because now I got somebody who's older, who loves me. Oh, it ain't that bad. And then you have wasted. Now you sold to the next person. Yeah. Yeah. And check this out. Sex trafficking is not what we visualize it to be. Mm-hmm. Sex trafficking is in some of the most prominent neighborhoods. While you thinking they on the gutter on west side of Atlanta, no, baby, they over there in Johns Creek, Marietta, Vinings. So let me stop.
Yeah. Yeah. And but you know, like I said, parents need to realize this, guardians need to realize this, grandparents need to realize this is because, and like you said, that if we look at the last couple of months because of the virus, I'm like with you, I believe God is trying to get our attention and restoring things that we have lost.
Absolutely.
Because we were not spending time with our family. We were working 2 and 3 jobs or working 60, 80 hours a week.
Yep. And
family was on 5th on our list, yes. You know, not 1st or 2nd or 3rd, things like that. And God is saying, look, I'm going to get you right. I'm going to make you spend 24 hours a day with your family and things like that. And my whole thing about this whole, this whole virus is don't let me miss something that I should have obtained during this season.
Yes.
You know, yes. And it's not by happenstance. Everybody wants to blame the devil about it. Devil has nothing to do with all this. God has orchestrated all this, and he'll do whatever he has to do to get our attention. And he will move governments and nations and everybody else, and even our own concept of what life ought to be, to say, I need your attention, and I'll do whatever I can take to get your attention. And here we are right back to where it should be, where we're supposed to be. And now we're having to face our own family members around the dinner table every day, even though they get on our nerves, even though they won't go outside and play, things like that. But now we're around the dinner table, and God's saying, I'm restoring back this to you.
Come on.
You know, because I think, I like you said, we're talking about before about where did our young people get to this? There was a breakdown in the home.
Yes, yes.
Not the church. It's a breakdown in the home, but the church hasn't done anything to restore it back. You know, one of the things I'm a huge teacher on is the Sabbath. You know, our society has been enslaved.
Come on, sir.
Working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you just do that with your family, saying this is the day that we're going to spend time as a family, we're going to honor God, we're going to eat together, we're going to put all of our devices down, we're going to face each other and have dialogue, that's 50% of the work getting back. But we kicked that out, and this is a whole nother teaching, we kicked that out decades ago, you know? And so that's what I'm saying. This virus, there were things that Karen and I instituted in our family years ago that even this virus has shown me, oh, well, you're only halfway there. Now, this is what we really need to do. Go ahead.
Sir. What I was going to tell you, of course, the church can't get right.
Yeah.
The family's not right.
That's
Who
true.
runs the church? So I used to have this illustration when I preach. The only difference between a church person and a family person is the house shoes. Because when I go out to church, I take out my bedroom shoes and go put on my church shoes. But I'm still the same individual.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have to, again, however your family dynamics looks like, I don't care. That's you. You single, whatever your family dynamic looks like, get to the point where it's a family again.
Yeah.
Your morals, your foundation, your values.
Mm-hmm.
Because as we can see, values and morals are not the same.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. It's not the same. But I guess I can bring that to correlation. Even your neighbors.
Yeah.
How you treat your neighbors determine what's really in your heart.
Yeah.
We are a garage society.
Mm-hmm.
My garage go up, my garage go down. During this pandemic, I've seen more people in my subdivision than I've ever seen before.
Same
and
here.
I've been here
Same here.
7 years.
Yeah.
To the point we starting to have cookouts with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah.
And if you read the text on that and study the commentary, he was talking about the Gentiles as well as the Jews.
Yeah.
People that didn't look like you, people that were not in the same class as you.
Mm-hmm.
And we have forgotten what that looked like. Yeah. So not only are we having to develop our families and getting to know our families during this time, but we needed to understand that this is our family too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I believe would kill some of the racism that's going on. Because we forgot what humanity looks like, Jay.
That's true. You know, I'm an introvert, and it's hard for people to believe that about me when they see me on Sunday on the stage.
Right.
You are too?
No, I'm the opposite.
I know you ain't. Yet it took this whole dynamic because I thought I was a really bad introvert. Like didn't like people, didn't want to be around people. I'm called to lead people, don't like the people, you know, and things like that. And it took this pandemic to show me, no, it wasn't my introvertedness that got me that way. It was technology. It was taking up our time, just being consumed with so much stuff going on. And then I'm like you, I'm waving at all my neighbors going by. I never did that, you know. Right. They're walking by and I'm attacking them. How y'all doing? You know, I'm running down the street. Talk to me, you know, you know, and things like that. And, you know, and so with that, you know, I'm going to the store where check me out, leave me alone, don't talk to me. I'm going to, how you doing? You've been having a lot of customers today, you know, things like that. Where before I would be so, where's my next place I got to go? Where do I got to be? You know, go. This has allowed me to calm down. I'm not introverted as much. I do like my time being by myself. Absolutely. But I realized I'm not as introverted as I thought I was. Mm-hmm. My introvertedness did not cause me to be that way. What caused me to be that way is my time being so consumed by needless stuff.
Come on, sir.
That it allowed me to devalue the people in front of me. And I tell you, my number one value for our family and our church are people are more important than things. And this virus has broken me over that. On, sir. I didn't realize how much that I had devalued people, even though people is my platform. Come on. You know, and people, you know, valuing people and making sure that we place people first in our life. I didn't realize until this virus how much I had devalued the people, not just family or friends or whatever, church people, but even the cashier, the waitress, the server, people, things, other people, and things like that it caused me to be that way. So that's good. That's done that, go ahead.
Jay, I mean, you very transparent on that, because I think we have a choice in what we do. But when the world's norm becomes our norm, we tend to lean that way. So technology was very much a way we communicated, and it was okay because that was the growing thing. Yeah. But you're right. When I go to the grocery store and I'm telling the person that's stocking the groceries, thank you for what you do.
Yes.
And my husband looking at me, he's like, you doing too much. You just extra. I'm like, no, I get it, because they don't have to be here.
I'm over here hugging them. More likely to say, I'm so glad to see you. Thank you for what you're doing, but I'm so glad to see you.
Right. Because even positions were becoming more important than the people.
Yeah.
And God is like, White House, senator, legislator, billionaire, entertainer, sports arena, nothing is more important than me. And look, nothing cannot be invincible.
Yes.
Everything bow downs to me now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's bringing, again, humanity and cultural competency back to the forefront.
Yeah.
What he founded on. He loved us enough to die for us.
Yeah.
But we can't even submit to other people and just say, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
But now he's like, news flash.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gonna need the people that you looked over.
Yes.
To bring your bread and water.
That's right. Wow.
And it's come to that point where he's flipping it.
Yeah.
He's bringing what used to be the rich.
Yeah.
And he's oh, good. Hear your Holy Ghost. He's bringing the last.
Yeah.
And bringing them up to the top.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to be last, Jay. I used to be less important because the only thing I did was preach the word and facilitate you human competency. But now when you got the Chamber of Commerce calling me because your business people are in a funk. Yeah. They are mentally challenged. They are mentally exhausted, depressed. Yeah. You wouldn't give me the time of day, but boy, you ringing up my phone now. When can you come in Zoom? Yeah. Yeah. Because like you said, go ahead, Jay. I'm sorry.
No, keep on going. Because you're exactly right. Keep on going.
Because he's gotten tired of us telling him who he needs to love and who is more important.
That's right.
It's wrong. It's wrong on two. And I understand that from between the Greek and the Gentiles. Well, the Gentiles and the Jews. The Jews thought they were it. And they were, and they still are very important. They are his chosen people. But thanks be to God for Jesus, the sacrificial lamb, the one who died yet while we were sinners, died for the Gentiles, who we are. Because he said, everybody can participate in the kingdom. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody can eat the good of the land. I have a plan for you. That's right. That you will be my prize. Mm-hmm. You will be the apple of I feel the Holy Ghost, Jake.
Go ahead.
You know, because when you tend to hear that you're no good and you're not good enough and you're not valued, you tend to take on that persona. Elizabeth took on the persona that she was bearing because the community called her that, and she began to birth nothing. So what God is saying, let's go back. Let's go back and have intimacy so I can deposit a seed of greatness in. Jay, you gonna make me preach up in here. Because that's what he's doing. The more you draw into him, the more he's gonna deposit who he is, his deity, his significance, his sovereignty. So this time when you come out of the pandemic, you dropping twins, you dropping triplets, you dropping blessings, not only for you, but for who's assigned to you. Because we've forgotten the Great Commission. We thought the Great Commission was how many members that could come in your building. Henceforth, he has kicked us out of the church.
Kicked us out. That's right.
They going to say something, boy, I need an usher. Where's my fan?
Your glass of water.
Right. Jesus.
That is so true. He has taken everything. And I tell you what, I don't think it's over.
No.
I don't think it's over. I know what the governor has done in our state. I know what the president and our government wants to do. And God is saying, you can have your agenda, but when all is said and done, I'm going to get the final say about all this. It. And I think, I think that's why I am encouraging people to lean in during this time. Mm-hmm. It's not easy. It has messed up all of our agendas. It has messed up all of our dreams and visions and things like that. But if you lean in and you hear what the Spirit is saying, he is going to extract out of you things that and this is what he's doing to me now. The things that I had on the back burner. I mean, things that I had that I've been wanting to do, write, produce, things like that. I mean, and I was talking to some people earlier in an earlier meeting. I said, I'm always late to the party. But now it's like 2 months in, it's like God is saying, I've been waiting for you.
Yes.
You've just been at home and all this and things like that. And now there's this thing, and I'm going, I don't need this to end now, you know, and things like this, because we got to lean into this time. And, you know, I always describe this on a worship experience at Living Waters, what I do. When I walk into the auditorium, I always, and I don't do this physically, but I always like to lick my finger and go, Spirit, what are you going to do today? I want to know where you're blowing, because the Spirit is always subject to the prophet.
Come on.
I want to know what the Spirit is doing today and things like that. That's how we need to be in our own personal lives and our families right now, is put our finger in the wind.
Jesus.
The wind blowing right now in our families. God, what do you want to do in me? What the good, the bad, and the ugly? What do you want to extract from me, so that when I go into this new season, that then I can walk into everything you call me to be.
That's it, Jay.
And if it were to end today, and this is what I've been telling people, if it were to end today, Living Waters is not going to look like it did on March 8th, which was last Sunday. Our offices can't look like it did. We have to look at everything. But right now, I'm just sitting back, and people saying, when are we getting back together? I don't know. And you know what? I'm okay as a leader to say I don't know. You know, because right now, when it comes to God, it's not that I'm being lazy or flippant. It's like, you know, and like I shared with you the last week when you and I were speaking over the phone, I was like, I was in a meeting with pastors telling them to get ready for this, because I saw it coming from overseas. Karen and I were supposed to be in Europe, and I saw the devastation that was going on over there. And that's why I'm looking at this now. I was preparing ourselves then. Now I'm here. I'm trying to prepare ourselves for the summer, because it may be September, October before we get back into the building.
Same here.
Service. Then when we get there, then God's going to say, now I'm ready. Now I see that my church is ready, because he's going to have to shake everything that doesn't represent him, out of the church, you know, and get himself ready, you know. And it's time. See, you got me. This is the time, Sandy, and all I can say is a Sandy and Jason conversation. It's the time for a good Bible movement, for things to be flushed out of our system, to be flushed out of the church. And God said, none of that represented me. None of that had nothing to do with me. But now that I got you where I'm at, and some of this is getting churches up to 2020 that still have a 1970, 80, or 90 mentality.
Talk, sir.
It's more about reaching people and expanding the kingdom and things like that.
That's it.
Know, that's it. Go ahead, Sandy, take over. We're gonna have to do this. We're gonna have to do it like this, because we're gonna keep on going. You know. But
Jamie, you had a very good point. I had to tell somebody, one of my board members, before I got on the phone. Hold on. When you have a virtual home office, and your husband over there cutting up ice. Back to the basics. Okay. So I had to tell him, it seems like I'm flourishing more during the pandemic. And I was doing good. Do not get me wrong. Calendar, traveling, things were going well. But I was like, am I stopping? He gave me a good 30 days. And then that's when the phone calls happened. And the conversation are still needed, but how we setting up is different.
Yeah.
So correlate to what you just said about the church. Mm-hmm. He's taking tradition out.
Yeah.
He's totally showing you what y'all been doing. I'm still getting glorified on Zoom. Yeah. So something got to change in the four walls. Yeah. Do you really need all that fluff? Yeah. Or do you really need a song and a prayer and a word?
Yeah.
And you don't need all them announcements. You don't need all them programs.
Yeah.
You just need to focus on me. And you're right. Once we, as the individual, understand what God is doing, then we can pursue the ministry of the church. But until then, he's going to evacuate us with, I don't know when you can come back date.
Yeah.
It's when he decides until further notice.
Yeah.
And you're right. Don't care what the president say. Don't care what the governor say. What is God saying? Like you said, test the atmosphere in your homes, in your children, even when you're traveling. If God say, go ahead and go, listen to him.
Yeah.
Don't be a fool.
Yeah.
But listen to him, because again, he'll make sure that no serpent will bite you. No poison will come upon you.
Yeah.
But you got to be obedient and listen to him in all of that, Jay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just sent out a report yesterday to some of our folks. We have reached, in the last 25 days, 65 times more people than we would on a normal Sunday in the last 28 days through social media and technology.
That's right.
And if you lean into this, it happens. I mean, so much so that this week we're having to purchase more equipment, and we're trying to figure out how we're going to do it, and things like this. It's a good problem to have.
That's a good problem, because
our technology is not keeping up with the things that we want to produce to reach more people. I've got people that never, number one, they've been to our church, but they've never viewed our service online. And I'm not talking about church folks. They have been to our church as guests of other events. They're watching it every week. That is their church service, and things like that. It's just mind-boggling. Just lean in to this time. Lean into this time.
Our congregation is small and mature. I think the average age, I'm the baby. Okay. So that tell you, then we have a few young people where we will probably get, let's say 20 on a Sunday morning. We're getting 28. I went on Zoom Sunday morning and also did Facebook while I was preaching. Total together, we're looking at 70 people. Okay, that's huge for us, but it let our pastor know there's something to this.
Yeah.
People may not want to get up and come to the church, but they want to get up and hear what God is saying.
Yeah, yeah.
So why not us make it feasible for them to hear about the living Savior?
Yeah.
Especially during a time where we need to be vigilant. And what bothers me, and we're going to go here, is when you have leadership that does not even want to try the technology to save the souls, but yet you're going to preach, go into the highways and byways and compel them to come. Don't play with me.
That's true. And they are Kmart living in an Amazon world.
Sir, that's good, Jay.
They are Kmart living in an Amazon world.
And they're going to miss what God is saying.
Yeah.
To serve this present age, my calling to fulfill.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to do my master's will. When he said this present age, he meant just that in that hymn.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
But
we won't. This present age is based out of Silicon Valley.
Come on.
But the church don't want to recognize that. I mean, the church they don't want to accept it, And go ahead. I'm saying, my mentality, and so this is our different calling, Sandy. My calling is to lead Living Waters International Church, and your calling is to speak to the church too, right. And things like that, be it Living Waters or other ministries,
absolutely,
and things like that, but also do the ministry when you kicked out the church too,
yes.
And things like that. I just wrote a paper. I had a research paper due last because I'm in a master's program too. And so I had a research paper done at the end of December, first part of December. And the whole research paper, now get this, my whole research paper was social media and the church. It was a dialogue to get the church to accept social media as a form of ministry today, presenting ideas, things they could do. Do you know that in 6 months later, that paper is out of date compared to all the information that I put in there about now how effective a church can be through social media? Well, I mean, I wrote that on a pre-virus mentality, pre-virus church.
Got you.
Now that the virus has hit, God has even shown us more stuff that can be done. And the thing is, he's like, look, I had all this stuff set up for you. I just need you to walk through it.
Come on, sir.
And through Facebook, beyond some of the advertising that we do, it costs us nothing.
Right.
Zoom, it costs our ministry $15 a month to use Zoom to do recordings like this and do small groups through Zoom and things like that. I mean, very, very cheap. And with that, being able to use this technology and be able to, push out videos like this so that people can be able to see what we're all about and minister to them right where they're at. Yet pastors get upset because they can't understand why folks won't get up and get dressed and come to the house of the Lord. So they refuse to do social media because they feel that it's not the same as packing their pews. We have always reached more outside on social media on a Sunday than we did inside. And it wasn't by thousands. It was just by 100. but it was 100 more that wouldn't come in our auditorium.
Absolutely. You and Angie pushed me, because Angie was like, okay, you getting ready to come here. We need your scripture. We need your title. I'm like, huh? Because I had never heard that. But I have to give you credit. You started preparing me for online ministry. When I go to another church and everything is on the screen, I had never heard of that until I came to you. So with that being said, that was a seed that was planted in me, had not yet begun to harvest. Yeah. So what you're saying is right. People still want Jesus. They just don't want the hypocrisy of the church.
That's true.
They don't want I'm big, you little mentality.
Yeah.
They just want Jesus. They want you to have their money. I'm gonna give you an example. We were on Bible study. I love her. She's like my adopted niece. After Bible study was over, after church was over, she said, how can I join? Yeah. Now I had to beg her to come. But as soon as we changed over in the pandemic, which turned out to be an opportunity, God led her and touched her through Zoom to join the church. And now she's saved. Now she's paying her tithes. Yep. I couldn't get her to come. Yeah. But that baby, and she gets excited about Bible study. What are you going to teach next, Auntie? Go ahead and send me the lesson ahead of time. Yeah. God makes no mistakes when it comes to his kingdom building. Yeah. We just foolish to misunderstand the blueprint when it comes to the building. Yeah. So now we're at a point that if we want to trust him, we got to trust him in all things. And how we set it up, if buying new equipment works for you, because I do believe you said something. I don't think he's finished. No, because the word has to get to everybody. What better way?
But yeah. Yep.
If the pandemic has touched everybody, do you not think the internet is doing the same?
That's right. That is so good.
So, of course, he makes no mistakes. Yeah. We just have to get on the back of the truck and let him drive.
That's right. That's true. That's true. And do a word that we preach about, what we can't talk about, and we can't even do it, and that's surrender.
That's it.
Just surrender. Ooh. Just surrender. Get in that raft, flow that river, wherever the river takes you. Just get in it without a paddle and believe that God's going to put you at the destination that he's called you to be at. Absolutely, Jay. Absolutely. And just be able to do that. That's
a faith walk. Go ahead. I interrupted you. Go ahead, Jay.
No, I want to pivot, but I don't want to pivot until we get through this conversation. So I love talking about that. I love talking to you. I love talking to you about things like this. Yeah.
Our faith walk, I put on something, and I guess I was kind of messy when I said it. I said, how can we tell people as leaders to trust God, and we as leaders are not trusting him? That's backwards. That's hypocritical. So because the members are going to look at leadership as a guiding point. So we have to check and be honest with ourselves. God, I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to trust you to send somebody to help me to do it. Because again, somebody is assigned to you, Jay. Somebody's assigned to me. And if they are all the way in California and they waiting on me to go Facebook Live, or they're waiting on me to do YouTube, God, let me do it. Yeah. Because not only would they be benefited, so will I.
Yeah. I want to pivot, because I cannot let you go without talking about your involvement, but to help the church gather that mindset to reach to those with HIV and the LGBTQ community. This is where we're at. This is our moment to rise and be able to do that. And you're on the forefront of this. Tell us about what you've done, and also tell us as church leaders what you want church leaders to know about this.
Jay, that when I tell you, that's a passion of mine. And it's funny how God put me into it. I had a very good friend who disclosed her status to me. And I was like, okay, cool. She was heterosexual, married. Well, between that relationship, she connected me to another young lady that was 15 minutes from me. And she disclosed her her status to me. And I was like, okay. And from that, I began to start teaching financial literacy to people who were HIV positive. From that, Jay, I sent a proposal in to a conference in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Now, I'm negative, heterosexual, married with children. Normally, and I'm a preacher. You don't see this.
Yeah, yeah.
But God sent me to Fort Walton Beach. And my consultant, she said, let me go ahead and tell you, you're going to see some different stuff. I was like, I'm ready. She said, I'm just warning you.
Yeah.
It's 1 o'clock.
And that's my computer. See your phone too?
Yeah, I'm like, so I went, I gave my session, and it was on a Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. I got there Thursday. So God allowed me to walk around. Did not know how people knew I was a minister, but they kept calling me, hey, Pastor, what's going on? And I began to have sometimes warm conversations between men. Well, how can the church do this? And how can the church do that? They kicked me out. I said, wait a minute, let's back up. I'm not the church, I'm Sande. And I'm here so I can learn, so I can educate the church. So you have to, one, be transparent about your intentions. That's it. That's number one. From there, that Saturday night, Jay, around 9 o'clock, they party out by the pool. I mean, they just jamming, having a soul party. Everything's popping off. I went to bed. Sunday morning, I wake up. There's another group. All I heard was praise and worship. And I got my Bible open because I'm in devotion, and God said, I called you to love. I didn't call you to judge. And that's when he released me to stop feeling any type of way about my own biases. So I had to understand that my job is to bring the message, but change the method. So what the church needs to do is to know that that could be your daughter that's HIV positive. That could be your grandmother. That could be your pilot that's driving your plane. That could be your Sunday school teacher. Okay? Because how you are transmitted the disease doesn't matter. Because if you look at it, some people could have been born with it. Some people could have been a diabetic and their son, who was a drug user, used the needle and transmitted the disease that way. It's not always same-sex relationships. If you look at the statistics, more women are now being transmitted the disease because they're in heterosexual relationships, but the partner has stepped out. The church is there to love and to inform. Because if the truth be told, if we ask all the pastors, when the last time you paid your taxes on your revival check, I'm pretty sure didn't nobody say nothing. Or when the last time you didn't have an affair with your secretary, I'm going to get crickets on that one. We don't ask you. Because you a church, you a law-abiding citizen. No, we all sinners saved by grace. So our job as faith leaders is to get the information out there. If it's contraceptives, if it's having solutions or resources where your members can go to get their medicines, that's what we're there for. Jay, if I'm to teach the Bible to show you that God is love and he fed them, then he fed them physically and spiritually, why I can't do that for somebody who's homeless? Why I can't do that for somebody who's a sex worker? When did he make me the judge? He just told me to be a disciple.
What is the, if you
and I hope I answered that.
No, okay, I'm going to ask this question. There's a pastor that is watching this that says, I want to be that type of leader, to be open to that community. What would you say for that pastor who's leading that church? What's the first or second thing that you can encourage them to do to be that leader, to do that?
First,
and I want to say, let me just say, go ahead.
I mean, that's good. That's a very good question, Jay. Go ahead and finish your second point.
No. Before our internet is saying it's unstable. I think it's that country internet that you got out there in the country. And so
Look, my internet's good.
but no, if you gave an answer to that, it might have got lost in that internet out there. But what's the first two things that you could recommend?
First thing, go to your nearest, what we call CBO, community-based organization, okay, who deals with people that are HIV positive in your community. That's the first thing. Second thing, let your church know this is what you're doing. Because if I have the information and the inspiration, we can now have transformation. That's what my motto is. Inspiration, education brings transformation. And all of that together is who God is. The Bible is the information. The Holy Spirit is the inspiration. Yeah. The blood brought the transformation.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, that's so good. You know, your church, you as the pastor will set the tone for your ministry. I teach leadership, and leadership is a simple rule of a game of follow the leader. Whatever you do, people will get behind you, and they will begin to do what you do.
Right.
If they see that you have hate for that community, they will find it permission to hate as well. If you don't want to talk about it, then they won't talk about it. But if you are open to that community and you love them and you're there with them, that they will get right behind you and support your vision for that. You know, when I'm with other pastors, I can usually tell which ones are, as we say, from the country and which one are from the metro area. Because when you pastor in the metro area, I was looking at this weekend at the new documentary about Michelle Obama, and there was a quote that probably many other people know about it. I never heard her say this before, but she says, "It is hard to hate up close." And when I heard that phrase, I was thinking about the church, because you're not close to people from the LGBTQ community, or you don't have them attending your church and sitting in your pews, and you're not loving on them before and after church. It's easy to hate that group when you are distant from them. Yet when they're up close,
right,
and they're, you know, and you are familiar with them and you love them, and they're in your church and they love your church, you start thinking about ministry different in that situation, and you can approach it. So I would encourage every pastor to like I said, in 2020, you got to minister and pastor different than you did in 1990.
Absolutely.
You know, and things like that. And so with that, you know, I would just give that aspect, because when I'm in circles and I hear people talk, I can usually tell where they're from.
Yes.
I know they're not from a metro area, you know, and things like that. And where, and so with that, but people like what you do and church leaders ministering need to come to the forefront to help us as pastors be prepared for even more, reaching more people.
Absolutely,
and loving more people and reaching more people and truly being the church that God has called us to be.
Thank you.
Because what the church has got to the place, they don't like change. They don't want to love people like them.
Absolutely.
But they don't want to love people who are different from them. Absolutely. Because it's harder to love people. You know, let's talk about, I'm not talking about marriage, but let's talk about marriage. It was easy on marriage day to say I do. It was harder to love them the first year, because you realize they are different than I thought they were, you know? And so, you know, but you have to persevere through it, you know?
Absolutely.
And so with that, when you're ministering to people that are different from you, different socioeconomic backgrounds,
yes,
or different backgrounds altogether, from family backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, racial backgrounds, sexual orientation backgrounds, then to love them takes it a little bit more work. And we as pastors, but also as church folk, we don't like change. Nobody likes change. Right. The only thing that likes change is a baby. And so with that, you know, to grow up and be mature is to embrace a change, to go, you know what, I'm going to do that. And I tell you, we have incredible stories and incredible testimonies of being a church that just ministers and loves people from all walks of life. That I'd rather, you know, Sande, I'd rather pastor a small church with diverse people from all over the world that comes together under one roof, then and go to heaven that way, than pastor a 2,000 member church that look like me, act like me.
Absolutely.
I found out even during this virus, I don't even like me. And so with that, you know, I rather pastor a church that diverse and different and things like that. Go ahead, Sande.
You talking some good stuff. And again, me and my husband have to credit you, maybe definitely me, because your church, and I think when I first spoke for you, I talked about how I saw a white man and then his black wife, and you had the kente cloth on. I'm like, this is different. You remember that? Because I was like, I would never forget that. I mean, he got on kente cloth, and then she's just as pearls, you know, very subdued, and you were like, yeah. So even in that, when I was able to be introduced to different nationalities, I loved it, because God was using you to set me up for the diverse group of people that I would be meeting. But you're right, Jay. God has allowed, and everybody can't do it. Let me go ahead and put that out there. Everybody does not have the to go in certain communities.
Yes, you're right.
I had to, your anointing, you got to know what your anointing is, because that's the only thing that breaks the yoke. You can't claim, and that's why a lot of organizations are not thriving in this industry, in the LGBT community. One, the people can see right through you. You are fake, you phony, you need to get up out of here. Yeah. But when they see your love and they see your heart, I got some nephews, and I tell this story. I got some nephews right now that are LGBT, transgender. I can be stuck on the west side of Atlanta. You give me 30 minutes, they coming to get auntie, period. Then I got some church folks that's got to wait 2 weeks to ask somebody that's got to get a vote.
After they pray for you.
So which one?
Yeah.
You know, and I had to realize who God was calling me to.
Yeah.
And once I accepted that, I know he had already prepared me for it. Yeah. I just needed to understand. And he had released me.
Yeah. And walk it out. You're right. And I would add this. Yes, not everybody's called, but dang it, be the cheerleader for those who are called.
Yes.
And don't be the one talking down about it because you don't understand it. Just be the cheerleader. And I know it's hard to swallow. You know, it's hard to swallow because sometimes ministry don't look like we think it all look like.
No.
You know, and yes, you know, and historically the church has thrived in gold and glitter and statues and beautiful buildings. And God is sometimes telling us, no, I need you to get down in the pigsty.
Right.
And,
right.
Yeah. And it's going to get dirty, and you're going to have to eat things that you don't want to eat and hang around people that stink and are nasty and vulgar and things like that. But you got to get there because that's where people are. You know, and I'm telling you, and let me just rephrase this quote that we've heard many times: everything that glitters is not gold.
Come on, sir.
So don't get hung up on the church that's got all the gold.
Come on.
That is the church that has arrived. So go ahead, Sande.
You said something. I have a good friend, William Francis. Sometimes he can get so involved into the homeless, exchanging of needles, feeding the sex traffickers. I mean, going in hotels that you know where sex trafficking is. He is so involved that we be like, yo, William, can you come out and take a shower and take a break? He said, no, because I was this person.
Yeah.
When you are called to something, that's your wealthy place. And I leave that. When you know God has called you, that is your wealthy, Lord, that's your Goshen right there, sir. Because everything you need to do ministry will be provided. You ain't got to beg, you ain't got to scream. It'll come out of nowhere. And people be like, hey, and you said something about the ministers. I'm going to put those two together. Okay. Ministers who can't do it will inbox me and say, you know what? I'm so proud of you. Mm-hmm. Keep doing what you're doing. So that lets me know I'm okay, but just be my cheerleader. When I need some money to fund this, I need you to be the first one. You ain't got to say nothing on Facebook. You ain't even got to share my post. But just let me know you got me in prayer. And that's cool. Because God has allowed me to be, he's allowed me to be the bullhorn on some stuff, some very controversial issues when it comes to the church. Before COVID happened, I was getting ready to do the Faith and HIV Roundtable. Had never been heard of. But that happened. I put it on a hold, but I'm starting to wonder if we could do a Facebook, because my babies, my LGBT community was like, Sande, we saved, we love God. Yeah. But why the preachers looking at us crazy? But when I was a little boy, they was the one that was messing with me. That preachers don't want to talk about that. I wasn't born like this, and some say they do. It is not my business. But the most of them are like, something traumatic happened to me. That's why I'm this way. But yet preachers want to feel like they can talk about them anything. I'm the wrong one you want to roll up on when it comes to that. Yeah. I'm the wrong. Sometimes preacher asks me to preach, and don't let it be an HIV month. That joker, that sermon is going right up in there. I think it was January. And yes, it was HIV annual day, World AIDS Day. And I had on a black dress. I was cute. And I had on my red Converses that would glitter.
Yeah, yeah.
And the last thing I was talking about was the awareness of HIV in the church. Yeah. We can talk about cancer. We can talk about MS, leukemia. But when it comes to HIV, it's a stigma. And I'm like, y'all don't know. Your deacon may be HIV positive, or your deacon's wife or daughter. Why they can't be loved? Yeah. Why they can't get the information and inspiration to bring forth transformation? So I just encourage servants, not necessarily leaders, but I encourage servants. Find your wealthy place and let God expose you to the greatness.
Exactly. I thought that was going to be the last thing we talked about, but I got to talk about one more thing. And you and I, we talk about this often, especially last week when you and I were catching up on stuff, and we talked about insecurity in the pulpit, insecurity in pastors and ministers, those that are called, the high insecurity levels that take place there. And, you know, one of the things that I opened up this whole discussion is what you see is what you get with Sande. Yeah. and because you are secure with yourself, it has allowed you to go places that other people will never go because they're not secure about. Oh, wow. And things like that. And I would say that in our pulpits today, insecurity is the number one thing that pastors struggle with, but they'll never admit it. Mm-hmm. They will never admit it. How, and that's the number one thing you got to do as a leader. You got to get beyond your insecurity to be secure who you are to go forward. Wow. How are you like you are today? and what would you encourage and what would you do to encourage others to be more secure in their leadership?
Jay, I don't know if your folks ready.
Look, this thing will go out a lot of places, so they'll be ready.
I wasn't always this way. Yeah. Because being in leadership and loving church, I loved church for years. And I would do anything for pastors and deacons to make the church run morally. I wasn't doing nothing crazy. But when you had leaders that saw your greatness, but you didn't see your greatness, a lot of them would take advantage of you. So as time progressed and I began to get heartbroken, and church hurt is real. Once it happens so often, you begin to become hard at certain things. You begin to not take a lot of stuff, but yet correct in love. But the last 5 years of my life, I've served up under a ministry and a minister that I felt was an Amazon mentality, but yet he was Kmart built. His outer appearance looked like Amazon. But once I began to hear him and how he taught, he was definitely Kmart. That was the most hurtful thing I think I had ever walked through. And when I had to leave that congregation after 5 years, becoming over the student ministry, putting it together, thriving, when I left, I was done with serving under ignorance. I was done. Until I went to my home church, sister church. It was a small church. My husband had to go play the piano. I was like, I ain't going to church. I'm on a sabbatical. Me and Jesus gonna be bedside Baptist members. I'm gonna be his best member in the bed.
Yeah.
But when I heard this older gentleman, and he's early 70s, but he's very much, he may not be Amazon, but he's about like maybe Walmart.
Walmart.com.
He's Walmart. He's there, has an open mind. And he heard me pray one time. They got me in the pulpit that one time. And he looked at me, he said, daughter, I need you, pretty much. He said, I need you. And I'm like, look, I don't mean no harm. I'm going to come and visit only because my husband played here. The more I went, the more he began to respect the gift in me and allowed me to be me. He allowed me to be me. And out of 20 years, Jay, January the 19th, I was ordained in ministry. 20 years of being a licensed minister. It took a man that didn't know me, who had never heard of me, heard me pray one time, and God opened up that door. So now who I am today, it's because of all the pain that God was putting in for purpose. And I'll tell anybody, accept your walk, your journey, accept it, walk it out tall, but don't never get so hard that you refuse to hear God. That's what I would say. It's over time. But now, I got a pastor that supports me and a husband that supports me. Oh, y'all can.
I was thinking the other day, I was driving down the street. Something that's your story. I didn't think about this, all the church hurt or the sheep bites, that you just get to a place that you just like, you know what, I'm just going to be me. Because usually you get hurt because you're trying to be like somebody else.
Right.
And I was driving the other day. I didn't think about that till you said that. But I was driving the other day. When I was younger, like 4 years old, my parents took me to a fireworks display. And I immediately began to cry because it was too loud for my ears. All right. So then when I got about a couple of years after that, I got older, my father would go deer hunting. But I never would go with him because I knew that whenever he would shoot a deer, the noise would bother my ears. And then he took me fishing one time. And it was all right, but he never took me back. So today I will say this. I'm not a fisherman. I got a pond in the back of my house, but I've never fished in it. It's nice. It's a nice view, but I never fished in it. Two is I never went deer hunting. Don't plan to ever go deer hunting. But I look at all that to say, if I look at all those experiences and be upset with my father or myself for not taking advantage of this, and then now trying to become a hunter or a fisherman, I will be something that I'm not.
Right.
But I thank God for never allowing myself to like those things, because in my church, nobody likes fishing nor hunting. All the men are from other countries. Most of them, not all. Most of them are from other countries. Most of the men that was born and raised in America, some of them, I got one that does, and everyone knows who that is. He looks like a mountain man. He's one of my best friends and leaders in the ministry. But all the other men, they don't care nothing about that. They came from the hood over here, and they came from this city over in Mississippi,
right.
Things like that. And I was thinking the other day, I thank God that I did not like that, because I'll be miserable, because I would want to go hunting and wouldn't be able to have nobody to go hunting with. And on top of that, I could have stories that nobody in my congregation could relate to. So I agree with you when you say, enjoy the journey. Nothing, and this is what I always teach, nothing is ever wasted when it comes to God. Nothing is the good, the bad, and the ugly. He takes all of that for your today and your purpose to be effective today, because he knows what kind of people are going to bring your way.
Come on, sir.
And so every conference, every thing you have facilitated, everybody is specifically designed for Sande Bailey-Gwen to be in that audience, because he's going to say, I got a daughter that I know can speak my heart to them. And when they leave, they know they've been in the presence of the Lord. And so when you're like that and you know that, then now you are secure, because I used to feel insecure because I was less of a man because I didn't hunt and I didn't fish. No, God created all that in me not to like all that stuff, because now I am more effective to people who also, other men, that don't like it either. You know, sitting here in the city. Can you see me at Living Waters talking about deer hunting? You know, exactly. You know, and so embrace your journey. That's so good, Sande. Embrace your journey, because your journey, nothing is ever wasted. Nothing is ever wasted. And we don't have time, but you have a story, because your journey is mind-blowing of where you're at today and all the different things. Because today, 2020, I would say was not supposed to look like this for you. You know, there's some things that happen. You know, we've known each other a long time, you know, and it was not supposed to look like this. But look what God has done, and nothing is wasted. Man. Nothing is wasted.
You're right. Even with marriage, Jay, we're not going far. We got to get off.
We got to get off. We've been on this hour and a half.
But yes, when the time is right, when I talk about marriages and raising children, and how some of who you have decided to marry may not be for you and actually against you. You know, those are things that people need to talk about while they're looking for a helpmate. A lot of stuff. But anyway, that's to be continued.
Yeah, I got one more question though.
Jay!
Now one more. It ain't gonna be long. I mean, it's gonna be quick. 10 seconds. What's this with Sande Bailey-Gwen and yoga? That's what I want to know about.
Lord, okay. Honey, so my daughter.
We'll leave it there.
I can say I am trying. I'm trying to cultivate my child into business entrepreneurship.
That's it. That's it. That is so it. Sande, I love you. Love you and Macon. Love your family. Love you both. Give Macon my best. God bless you. And I speak blessings over all your endeavors. And I want to say to you, your best is still yet to come. Amen. It's going to blow your mind, the things that God is doing in your life for 20 and 21 and 22 and 23. I'm telling you, hold on, because God is setting some big things up, and you thought that you've gotten into circles with some big names. Just wait, because God's going to put you in front of people because of who you are, whose you are, not because of any gifts or talents you have. But I want to tell you that He is making provision to put you in front of, and you have thought that you've been in front of a lot of great people, a lot of great leaders. And it is not going to be by chance that God's going to set up some divine appointments between you and people who the world thinks are large. But God is saying, that is a son and daughter of mine. I need to get you to them. And God is setting that up in the atmosphere to get you to, and they are going to be your audience. You're not going to be an audience.
Wow, my God.
They are going to be your audience, because God is setting up because of the things that are going to come out of your mouth. God bless you, Sande.
Boy, I love you.
I love you too. Love you too.
And Miss Karen, bye.
I sure will. Bye. God bless you. Bye.